So the magnetic field portion is visualized as closed loop lines around electric current flow. And it's the energization of the space around electric current flow. If you have a garden hose and you open up the spigot and you put 80 pounds of pressure into that hose and you squeeze the nozzle at the other end, the water shoots out and that's flow, that's current. And there's a magnetic field around that if it was electrons flowing down the wire.
Yeah.
And you turn off the device, the lamp or the motor, the flow stops, there's no current, there's no magnetic field. Electric fields are produced by voltage, which is visualized as connecting lines between voltage differences.
Yeah.
And it's visualized as the difference. Electric fields are the energization of the space between voltage differences. When you open up that spigot and have 80 pounds of water pressure going up to the nozzle at the other end, that's pressure. But when you squeeze the nozzle, because of the pressure, you have the flow. When you let go of the nozzle, you have no more flow, but you still have the pressure. You feel the kick when you squeeze, and you feel the kick when you let go, because the pressure is right there. So in the same way, you have Romex plastic jacketed wires in the wall from outlet to outlet right around the perimeter of the wall in a modern house. In this construction, they might have dropped down from the ceiling, although in the 70s they did it this way. But before that, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they dropped down from the ceiling.
And is there a difference?
Not really. So you have electric fields coming out 6 feet from the hot wire in the plastic wiring, or the cloth wrap wiring.
Wow.
And it also comes 6 feet out from an extension cord.
Yeah.
So this is a standard extension cord, which is now plugged in over there. And when we turn this on, we have an electric field. But when I turn this off, the pressure is still here up to this point. Remember that kick in the garden hose? When you let go of the nozzle, you still feel a kick because 80 pounds of pressure is still there up to your hand. There's 120 volts of pressure up to this point, which is still there.
And it's always there.
It's
when
always
it's
there.
turned off.
Unless you plug in one of these down there, which you can do in a house that has this kind of wiring, like the house that we live in. This is what's in the walls, so we don't have to shut any breakers off to sleep at a low level. We have one lamp, it's plugged into one of these things, and so we leave the light on, and because we don't want the cord to still have electric fields.
Yeah.
So we have a switch like this at the bottom of the cord at the outlet, and that's where we turn it off. But you can only do that, you can do that with this kind of wiring, but you still have the field coming through the wall from this kind of wiring. So you have to go out and shut the breaker off.
Oh.
So we don't shut it off, we shut this off at the lamp and then go and flip the breaker off.
Yeah.
Not us, but my clients.
Yeah.
And here's the other way we can measure this. So you see here, with the light on, that's measuring 100 volts per meter, 75 volts per meter.
Yeah.
When I turn this off, or 60, when I get my hand away from it, it's like 60, 50, 60. When I shut this off, that number did not change a bit. It's still, because the field is still there.
Yeah.
But if you have this kind of wiring in the wall, you won't have any fields from the wall, ever. And then, in fact, if you have this in the wall, then you're not shutting the breaker off, so then at night you have to have a kill switch for the cord.
You have to have a kill switch.
Yes, one of these. This is a $5 item at the hardware store.
Oh, no.
Called
So when you turn it off, then you won't get that electric.
Right,
Um,
not from this. So what impact does electric fields have on, and by the way, let me show you something. Look at that. This is an electric field meter. It's on electric, it doesn't go up till you get this close to it.
yeah.
Barely at all. There it goes up.
Oh, yeah.
See, so this thing measures out, the true distance is 6 feet
Mm.
before you get below 100 millivolts or 1.5 volts per meter on this.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the health effects of electric fields? Electric fields do two things. They cause melatonin to not be released by the pineal gland. It's like this instead of this in the middle of the night. I'll get back to that. But also, over the 8 hours of sleep, this is a typical sleep study, you have 4 or 5 cycles. Every cycle is comprised of a red portion and a blue portion. Non-dreaming, dreaming. And that's an hour and a half, that's 90 minutes. So for an hour and 15 minutes, you're in non-REM sleep. For 15 minutes, you're in REM sleep, rapid eye movement, dream sleep. That's the blue.
Mm.
And this is the stages. Shallow, deeper, deeper, deepest, shallow, shallow, less deep, shallow. You go back and forth between shallow and deep and shallow and deep. And you don't even know it. You're asleep the whole time.
Yeah.
But your body's doing this. And the more time you spend in deep stage 4 sleep, the more rested and refreshed you feel when you wake up in the morning. This guy, or woman, in this sleep lab, with Myers here and there, was here for 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and not again the rest of the night. Did this person get enough time in stage 4? Well, if this is all that they see in sleep labs, they would consider this normal. I would not consider this normal. Because my clients tell me they sleep a lot deeper.
Yeah.
They awaken much more refreshed.
Mm.
And they don't fall asleep in the day. All because they have reduced electric fields at night and they spend a lot more time in stage 4 sleep. Also, the amount of melatonin that we release from the pineal gland in the middle of the night is restored. Because this is melatonin, serum melatonin level as released by the pineal gland, because that's where it's made.
Mm.
And so this 8 hours here corresponds to this dark time here. This is 24 hours. We're in the afternoon. So last night we made melatonin, or we released melatonin, and light bulb almost at the ground.
Ooh.
So we're here. We may be making melatonin, but we're not releasing it. That happens in the middle of the night. So we want to have the maximum amount of melatonin released, but you can't do that in the presence of these fields, as well as having too much light coming in. We know about that.
Yeah.
But nobody knows about these fields. So my job as a building biologist is to give my clients a sleeping environment that doesn't have electric fields, magnetic fields, or radio frequencies, or dirty electricity at night.
Yeah.
So we have different strategies to do that. And then when the electric fields are reduced and the melatonin is up, the consequences are that in the hormone system, elevated levels of melatonin, which are healthy, help suppress the excess production of estrogen and testosterone, inhibiting hormone-dependent cancers if you have them. In the immune system, it assists the white blood cells for fighting infectious disease. These are all the positive things. In the nervous system, it helps with the production of serotonin and dopamine, these happy hormones. We'll get to that. It helps the whole body to fight cancer and helps the liver and lymphatic system to detoxify. In the absence of adequate melatonin, then the hormone-dependent cancers can grow, the immune system is not as protective as it should be, and you can have infections more readily. You could have chronic fatigue, sleep disorders, insomnia, restless leg syndrome, seizures, fibromyalgia, depression, sudden infant death syndrome, hypersensitive, what is that saying there?
Hyperactivity.
Hyperactivity, yeah, in children, multiple joint aches and fibromyalgia and headaches. These are the things that people tell me clear up when we reduce the electric fields where they sleep and the magnetic fields.
Wow.
And then the whole body can fight cancer better, and the liver and lymphatic system can detoxify, which reduces the propensity for multiple chemical sensitivity.
Yeah.
So this is all, that's how MCS and electrical hypersensitivity are correlated,
What's MCS?
multiple chemical sensitivity.
Oh.
So that's the unknown EMF. Now, the known EMF is the magnetic fields, and they come from the old knob and tube wiring, where the hot is here and the neutral's here. You don't have your cancellation. In houses built before the 1940s or 30s. Wiring errors. Here's an example of a wiring error. You have a circuit here coming from the panel with a certain, like 3 amps on it, with a magnetic field of a certain size around the hot wire. And then it goes through the load, and the current comes back on the white wire. And let's say, and it goes all the way through like it's supposed to, and 3 amps all the way back. So the current is equal. The magnetic fields are equal, and so when you bring those two together, the magnetic field going one way and the magnetic field go the other way, superimpose, and they cancel. And there's no magnetic fields that come into the room. But what if you have a situation where a different circuit comes through this panel, this junction box from the panel? Here's circuit 4, here's circuit 7, going to loads in this room. Circuit 4 goes to this room. There's no current on this, let's say, to make it simple. And this has 3 amps coming in. 3 amps comes in on the black, nothing on this black. 3 amps on this black. 3 amps should come back, and that 3 amps should stay with that black all the way back, so that the field around the one cancels the field around the other. But here, you're giving that electricity 2 ways to get back to the panel. This way, the way it should be on, and this way that it should not be on. Because the guy got sloppy and he just took all the white wires and put them together. But the blacks are not together. That would trip the breaker, depending on whether it's on the same leg or opposite leg. This, the lights work. It's a violation of national code. Nobody finds it because they don't look for it.
Yeah.
They're too busy. The
And
code
that
inspectors,
happens a lot.
a third of the houses in the United States have this.
That's not good.
They all have magnetic, a third of the houses have magnetic fields when you turn on certain loads, certain lights, certain loads. That's what we're going to fix on Friday in Irvine. So 3 will come back from this branch, and then 2.2 will go this way, and 0.8 will go this way. So I put my clamp, this clamp here, around the black wire, and I get 3. I put this around the white wire. I need to get 3. I don't, I get 2.2. I put my clamp around both of them, I get 0.8 instead of 0. That's not good, because then that means that there's a magnetic field coming into the room, and it'll go through either of these. Neither of these shield that magnetic field. It bleeds through both of them. The way to keep magnetic fields out of your house is to make sure the wiring is always balanced. That current should, whatever current is going out on the black needs to equal what goes back on the white, and not more, not less, just the same amount. And that return current should be on no other path, including the grounds. So the ground wire can touch the neutral wire in an outlet here. It's one. So this is neutral to neutral between 2 circuits, and this is neutral to ground. And another way that happens is, here's a main panel with the grounds and neutrals on the same bar, bus bar they call it. And then they put in a new panel, and they turn this into a sub panel, and they don't take the grounds off. Then you've got a wiring error, you've got a problem there. So you need to take those grounds and put them on their own bus bar over here, and keep the neutrals separate from the grounds in a sub panel.
Why do you have to do that?
Because if you don't, then current that comes back here, that should be going back on this neutral wire, will go back on the ground wire that's associated with this. And it could go onto other grounds, and it'll go all over the house, that current.
And that would be dirty electricity?
No, it's just a magnetic field.
Oh, okay.
Now, dirty electricity, see, That's what everyone keeps focusing on. They keep bringing up, what about dirty electricity? What about dirty electricity? Now, why, and I asked the rhetorical, I know the answer, but I asked the rhetorical question, why do you keep asking about that? It's the low man on the totem pole. It's not an important EMF. I hate to say it. And I, with all due respect to Sam Millam and Dave Stetzer, it's not that important. It's not that harmful for healthy people. Not nearly as much as the other three, especially electric and magnetic fields. But
Yeah.
nobody knows about this. Why do you know about this? I'm not singling you out. I'm just because I get this all the time.
Yeah.
Because you see it on the internet.
Oh,
This
okay.
is what people write about. Dirty electricity, dirty electricity, dirty
Yeah.
electricity.
I didn't know it was that popular, actually.
Oh yeah, it is
Good.
because it's so easy to measure.
Yeah.
You plug this in, you get a number, and then you plug in a filter. And you plug in a Stetzer filter or a Greenway filter,
Yeah.
and boom, the number goes down, you're happy.
Yeah.
And you buy, 8, 10 of these, put them all over the place. I got rid of an EMF. I got rid of my
Yeah.
EMS. And there are some people who say, well, this is all you need.
Yeah.
This takes care of all your EMF problems.
But that's not true.
No, it's not true. And if you have wiring errors,
It makes it worse.
it makes those worse. The magnetic field gets worse, but you don't measure magnetic fields with this.
Yeah.
You don't measure electric fields with this. You don't measure radio frequencies with this. You only
Ah.
measure, actually this is an electric field measurement of higher frequencies.
Yeah.
But you will not pick up the electric field that the hot wire generates with this. Or that the hot wire generates from this or from this, with this meter. You need this meter for that. It's very confusing, I know. So we went over magnetic field, the difference between magnetic fields and electric field. We've discussed electric fields, and they come from the plastic wiring in your walls. And then magnetic fields come from 4 sources. Outside overhead power lines, because they don't insulate those wires up there, because there's too much heat being generated, so that burns up the insulation. They found that out years ago, so they stopped covering them.
Oh.
So they're bare, they're not insulated, but they have to keep them separated so they don't knock together or get close enough to arc, which could cause the whole trip the breaker at the substation and knock out power for the whole neighborhood. So there goes your cancellation because they're separated from each other. You see?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one source, and we can't do anything about that. You just don't want to move into a house or an apartment that has magnetic fields that's more than 1 milligauss.
And then I'm not too close to the power line that it would have that effect.
No, because if you were, you wouldn't have see that number 0.55 milligauss? So hold on.
0.06 milligauss.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. 0.5.
Well, those power lines out there are way far away.
Oh.
They're nowhere near close. So you're getting, I'm going to put this back on, so you're getting 0.5,
milligauss.
I'm getting 0.3, so this is in the same ballpark, okay? And I'll get the same number no matter how I turn this. With this one, it's a 3-axis meter. It's 0.05 microtesla, which is 0.5 milligauss. So we get pretty much the same number. In fact, I'm going to change this to the LF30.
And that one's more sensitive, right?
It is. And this is 0.3, 0.2, which is actually close. In fact, now these are exactly the same.
Oh,
You notice that?
yeah.
So you should measure magnetic fields in LF30,
Oh,
and if it goes so high that you can't read it, then you have to go to LF
yeah,
600,
yeah.
because the LF30 is the more sensitive reading.
Also, I have a hematite necklace that's magnetic, so if I put it on there, I notice that it does change.
Well,
Is that bad?
no.
Oh.
No, I'm not reacting that way for that reason. That's a geomagnetic source. This is measuring electromagnetic sources,
Mm-hmm.
not earth magnets.
But it still picked it up though. When I moved it, it would pick up.
There's no EMF in the stone. There's no, not in the frequency range, not 60 hertz AC, which is what this measures. I don't know what that phenomenon was.
Yeah.
It's not that there's any EMF coming from the stone
Yeah.
or any protection from the stone that we can measure.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are all these chips and pendants that people have. They don't change any of these meters,
Yeah.
except for the magnetic field setting of the cell sensor. There's one guy has a booth where he shows that, and people buy his the company that he represents buy those chips for their cell phones, thinking that they're getting protected from radio frequencies, but he's not measuring radio frequencies because he has the probe plugged in, and that puts it into the magnetic field mode. You got to unplug that thing, and then you measure radio frequency, and there will be no change because
Yeah.
those chips and pendants do not change. Because I've measured the radio frequency with this kind of a meter,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that reminds me, because somebody gave me one of those stickers to protect me, but I don't believe it doesn't.
well, no. See, the way that the stickers work,
I'll show
is-
you what it is.
they change. The stickers change the way the body reacts to these fields.
Yeah, yeah.
That's yeah. That will not. That thing will not change the reading
The
that this.
reading.
No.
But it could change what happens in my brain.
Well, in your
How-
whole body, in the cells.
Oh,
There is evidence that those technologies reduce the heating effect of the cells. Instead of reds and yellows, you get blues and greens.
yeah.
Number two, you see less clumping and stacking and sticking of red blood cells, called rouleau formation. When you put the chip in there, they seem to spread apart, which is good.
Yeah.
It avoids the rouleau formation, which means deoxygenation and sticking of the red blood cells to each other. And the third thing that it does is it reduces the incidence of DNA damage in mice, they've found.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea how that happens. And then
That's
fourthly,
scary.
thousands of people swear by them and say, I feel better with that. Electrically sensitive people, some of them, can tolerate doing more. But we don't advocate that anybody, whether you're sensitive or not, stick a chip on your phone and then hold it next to your head.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that at all. Our position on this is reduce use of wireless devices in general, increase distance, and find hardwired alternatives whenever possible,
Yeah.
like Ethernet cables.
Yeah.
Okay, and then when you plug these in to your router and your laptop, you must disable the Wi-Fi manually
Yeah.
on the router and the laptop. Because if you don't, plugging this in does not do that for you automatically.
Yeah. What I did is, because my roommates have Wi-Fi, they don't want to get rid of the Wi-Fi, so I put a net over my router, and then it reduces the RF, but in my room I use the Ethernet cable, and I don't have the Wi-Fi enabled on my computer.
Okay,
So it's a little better.
all right, so is it your router that everyone's,
It's not my router,
oh, it's
theirs
the router for the house?
for the house.
And it's out here,
Yeah.
and that's not your room, that's somebody else's room.
Yeah, that's Monica's room.
Your room is at the other end of the apartment.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to measure where you sleep with this radio frequency detector, and the field from that can still be picked up, but it won't be very high at all
Yeah.
on the meter that we get.
Yeah.
That meter would be high in your bedroom if you had your laptop on.
Yeah.
So that router there is a continuous continuous emitter of radio frequency EMFs.
Yeah.
The laptop crackles every 8 to 12 seconds.
Mhm.
That's how it works. And when you send a command, it's not constantly sending out a signal.
Oh.
But it's still several times a minute, and it's not healthy.
Yeah.
So by disabling the Wi-Fi and plugging in an Ethernet cable, you have a fast connection, stable,
Yeah.
and it can't be hacked,
Yeah.
like the airborne Wi-Fi can.
Oh.
So, okay.
Wow.
So, okay, so So to finish magnetic fields, outside power lines is one source. The other three are inside the house. Wiring errors, current on the water pipe, and point sources, transformers and motors. Like the refrigerator motor, when it's running, is the biggest source of magnetic fields in any motor in the house. You just don't want to have a bed on the other side of the wall, or a couch, or a chair where you sit, because the field will come out. It's very strong, but it drops off exponentially within 2 or 3 feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and wiring errors, we can tell that you have wiring errors in your circuits because we go around the house and we turn on some lights and the fields are really high on the Gauss meter, on this one or this one.
Yeah.
Or this one. Or this one. So, you will see magnetic fields go up with this.
And which one do you find that you use the most? Like those two?
Yeah. I have, this is the Gauss meter that I've used for years.
Mm-hmm.
See, they all agree, 0.3. This is a triple axis Gauss meter. But then I got this just a week ago.
Oh, really?
And this is what our students use. So this measures magnetic fields and electric fields. It's a handheld meter. And then this is a gigahertz solutions radio frequency detector. And I have the model below this in the car that I've been using, and I got these together.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
because you can data log with these. You can set them up and let them run for a day or so.
And you have like a graph of it.
Yeah, or you can do bed mapping, and show the client a nice, visual representation of what's going on there. So, so for magnetic fields, we fix wiring errors if you have them, and current on the water pipe, we can fix that with a piece of plastic in the water pipe.
Oh.
Now, you're on the second floor of an apartment, so I don't think we're going to be dealing with that in this.
With the
Okay,
water?
yeah, with the current on the water pipe, but that is a source.
Because I'm on the second floor, it doesn't affect me.
Yeah, although, no, right. But you could have current on some of the grounding paths, like if you had this kind of wiring, it's good for electric fields, but you could have current on the grounding path, which is the sheathing here, see?
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. And it's unfortunate because in an apartment, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I've actually worked with half a dozen clients who went through the steps to try and get their landlord to do something about it. I have not been successful yet.
Yeah.
It's just too big. Because they say, well, the building inspector signed off on this building 40 years ago when it was built. What's the problem?
Yeah.
And then we say, well, there's a code violation. Well, as far as we're concerned, even though
Yeah.
it's right there in the code, because
Yeah.
they don't want to admit that they missed it. And then they'll say, well, what's your problem? And you say, well, it's a magnetic field. Okay, what's the number? It's 5 milligauss. But there is no safe level in the United States. And you go to the website for the utilities, and Edison says, well, folks, we usually measure 1 milligauss in our homes. And I've seen their surveys, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But they say, don't worry, because we get 100 milligauss under power lines. But the International Commission for Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection in Geneva says 833 milligauss is safe.
Wow.
See, that's the problem we have. And Germany says, if you look at these numbers here, for magnetic fields, you look at the fine print, and it lists it in nanotesla, but you just convert, which is different. This is microtesla, this is nanotesla.
Yeah.
You just 100 to 1. Take 2 zeros off and you get milligauss. So, Germany says 50,000 is safe in the occupational settings, and 4,000 for the public in Germany. American Congress of Governmental Industrial Hygienists says 2,000 milligauss is safe in the United States here.
You mean 200,000?
No.
Oh,
Well,
milligauss.
200,000 nanotesla. You take 2 zeros off, you get 2,000 milligauss.
Oh.
This is the American Congress of Governmental Industrial Hygienists. That's their opinion. And then the International Commission for Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection is 1,000 milligauss here, similar to 833 that Edison quotes. And then you get down, from that first tier, you get to the second tier, Switzerland, 10.
Yeah.
And they're on the high side. World Health Organization said 3 to 4 is possibly carcinogenic
Wow.
at one point. They said that at one point. TCO, Sweden, that's Sweden, 2.
Oh.
And the US Congress, at one point, the EPA in the 1990s, 92, 93, said, they floated a document that said, we're considering making 2 milligauss the safe level in the United States in 1993.
And now they don't have a safe level.
The electric utilities heard about that
Huh.
and said, we'll be liable. You
Yeah.
can't say that.
Yeah.
So it was withdrawn. And my teacher, my colleague, has a copy of that. This is before the era of the internet, or just as it was
Yeah.
getting started.
Oh wow.
Bioinitiative report says 1 milligas is safe.
Yeah.
We say 1
One.
is safe. See?
Mhm.
So it's all over the map
Yeah.
around the world. So, okay. Now, radio frequencies, we touched on it a little bit, and I have a whole series of papers here about that, but
Yeah.
I won't go into every one of them. But just to say that France just voted in January of last year to ban Wi-Fi in all daycare centers.
Oh nice.
And if you're a school teacher in a grade school, you have to turn the Wi-Fi off when it's not in use.
I'm gonna move to France.
France is very progressive
I
on
wanna
these
make
things.
a family.
And who pays for the health care in those countries? The government.
The government.
There's England has private health insurance for those who can afford it as a supplement, but everyone gets health care in those countries. That's what Bernie Sanders is all about.
Yeah.
One of the things. And I think
so
he's right.
if Bernie Sanders becomes elected, you think?
Well,
he'll have-
well, then we got to get it through Congress.
yeah.
And who's gonna lobby against that? The insurance companies, because they lose out.
yeah.
But you still have to run Medicare. I mean, who runs Medicare? Who actually does the processing of Medicare claims? Aetna,
What's
Blue
that?
Cross.
Oh.
Because there is no Medicare bureaucracy that processes claims.
Oh.
Medicare in every state where it exists for the elderly and the disabled has private health insurance companies do the processing, so they get a contract. You can have an Aetna in one half of the building is processing Medicare at a different rate schedule of reimbursement versus their private company that has a different, for the same procedure. Medicare, gives out this much, and the other Aetna side gives out more
Yeah.
because it's private health insurance through companies. If you work for Walmart, you're covered. They probably have their own plan, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, all that argument is just,
So it might not help.
it's just, no, well, if Bernie has to get elected first, has to get nominated, then he has to get elected, and then we have to get more Democrats back in Congress, and then maybe we will.
Oh.
But then we have the lobby. But Medicare didn't come along, it came along in stages. All of civil rights, voting, all these things came in stages,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I wanted to mention that in this radio frequency, you go to my website and there's a page there, articles on EMFs. And it gives you links to a bunch of different articles.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it is, and there's my YouTube, when Jerry did filmed me, he put, I have a link to one of those times when he filmed me talking about EMS. And that doesn't show up when you print it out for some reason, so, because it's a link to another,
So that would be right there.
it'll be right there. But here are the articles. There's an introduction to EMS, which covers the stuff we went over in the beginning. Then there's a separate link to each type of EMF. There's an article on magnetic fields, a separate one on electric fields, a separate one on radio frequencies, and another one on gray electricity.
Yeah.
So in the radio frequency article, I talk about the FCC versus the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And what they say is that
They actually have an opinion.
they do. They in 1997, they said that they found after some studies that they did on laboratory animals that 5 milliwatts per square centimeter was a safe level because the rats didn't start getting confused until they got to 5 microwatts. And at that point, they stopped pressing a bar for food and they said, this is our safe level.
5 milliwatts per centimeter squared.
Yeah, it's because they had a transmitter, radio transmitter next to the cage and kept turning it up until the rats stopped pressing a bar.
Oh.
Well, they measured the frequency or the power density of that radio signal going into the cage, and it was 5 milliwatts per square centimeter. So that's 5 thousandths of a watt,
Yeah.
striking a ½ inch by ½ inch, which is ½ inch by ½ inch. That's a square centimeter. The problem, and then they said, well, let's put in a 5-fold safety factor for the general public and bring it down to 1 for the general public. Because it's still 5 for workers in industrial settings, and it's 1 milliwatt per square centimeter for the rest of us.
So they made it more sensitive for the...
Well, a little bit. And the tri-field meter measures in milliwatts per square centimeter. And they went down to not 0.1 but 0.0. Here's 1. They went to 0.1, 0.01. They went 100 times lower.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. And they thought that that was a good thing. And I appreciate their efforts, but this is a table in that article on radio frequencies has links to this thing from the FCC, and then the next link in the next paragraph is to this table that you converts, because this is America, this is Europe.
Yeah.
The FCC uses milliwatts per square centimeter because the number's nice. It's like a lone 1. It's so small.
Yeah.
But the Europeans are so stringent that they measure not in milliwatts per centimeter squared, but microwatts per meter squared.
Oh, wow.
They go 1,000 times lower in the numerator.
Yeah.
They move the decimal point 3 places over, so it's not milli, it's microwatts, which is 1/1,000,000th of a watt per square meter. And there are 10,000 square centimeters in a square meter, which is 3 feet by 3 feet. That's how stringent they are. So that number 1 balloons up to, when you do the math, 1,000-fold here, 10,000-fold down here. That 1 becomes equivalent to 10 million microwatts per meter squared. So then this organization in England called PowerWatch came up with a table. And this is the third link. So here's powerwatch.org, and there's a link here to EMF guidance levels, international guidance levels. You scroll down the page, you get to this table. So here is the FCC in the USA at 10 million, but now we're in microwatts per meter squared. Look at all these other countries. Lower, 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 lower. 10 to 100 times lower.
Yeah.
And Vienna started out at 10,000 down to 100 in 4 years.
Yeah.
From 1998 to 2002, right? 2001, right there. See, from 1,000 down to 100.
Oh wow.
Or 10,000 down to here, Salzburg, to 1,000. So the point is, as more evidence has come out in Europe, these countries are taking action.
Yeah.
They're taking Wi-Fi out of schools in France, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Belgium, Ireland, India, Israel, Russia, and Australia.
Oh,
So what do those countries know that we don't know? They pay for the healthcare of their people. They're paying attention to what's happening to their kids. And so the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, which is this organization for the European Union, which is like our Consumer Product Safety Commission, they've written this Committee Resolution 1815 on the potential dangers of electromagnetic fields and their effect on the environment and human health. And that's what this article is all about. They talk about the heating effects, the non-heating effects. They talk about as low as reasonably achievable principle and precautionary principle. They say that that you can have health effects even at levels below the official threshold value. They talk about having a ban on Wi-Fi and cell towers in certain areas for the electrosensitive people that can move there.
Yeah.
They say set up awareness campaigns, information and awareness raising campaigns on the risks of potentially harmful long-term biological effects on the environment and human health, especially targeting children, teenagers, and young people of reproductive age.
Yeah.
They talk about concerning the private use of cell phones, cordless phones, Wi-Fi, and baby monitors,
Yeah.
set, let's see, set preventative thresholds for levels of long-term exposure to microwaves in all indoor areas in accordance with the precautionary principle, not exceeding 0.6 volts per meter in the medium term, and to reduce it to 0.2 volts per meter. So that means getting it down to 100 to 1,000 microwatts per meter squared. So now we're in the same ballpark. Because my profession recommends, we say 1,000 is an extreme biological risk
Yeah.
in the sleeping area in microwatts per meter squared. We actually be below 10. But the average cell phone conversation puts you up into the tens of thousands, you know.
Yeah.
So sitting right here with that router over there, we have 8,000 8 milliwatts.
Oh.
So we have 8,000 microwatts per meter squared.
Oh, let me see. So I'm
Wait,
getting-
I'm sorry. That was,
Oh yeah, this thing can make sound too. But I don't know what that means.
well, now, did you say you have a cloth or you have something?
Yeah, I
there?
put that. I got it through these guys.
Oh, you know what? I apologize. The mistake I made was I had this set on peak hold
Oh.
as we turned this on, and when you turn this thing on, it always starts out high and then drops down. But if you don't,
You had on peak.
if you start on peak hold, it will hold at the top number and it won't ever come down. So our actual number where we are here is 2 to 4,000, 2 to 400. Well, 800. Actually, it popped up to 1,000 there. Now, but the average number that I'm getting here is 5 to 800. So what are you getting?
This is milliwatts. What's yours in milliwatts?
No.
No, yours is
See,
microwatts.
yeah. So you're actually measuring 30.
And also, it's only a single axis point.
Yeah, that's true.
And my router's over there.
Okay. So the highest that this ever went to was 100.
Is that long?
It's off by a few hundred, you know, but this is a really sensitive meter. This is like $2,000. That's
Yeah.
130. So it's still helpful. We'll
So
go,
if I turn it off, should I test it when I turn it off?
we can do that.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to go through this with you, and they're recommending, like for children in general, and particularly in schools and classrooms, give preference to wired internet connections. Strictly regulate the use of cell phones by school children and school premises. So, and when this came out, every newspaper in London talked about it. Every newspaper.
Yeah.
When this came out, no newspaper in America covered it.
Yeah, I don't.
The industry
I'm
would
not
not
surprised.
let it. No, they run the show here.
Yeah.
You can't trust the regulatory agencies to protect your health. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Now, this is something that Cindy Sage put together. She started off with the level that the FCC says is safe, and she went down from there to lower and lower levels, 4 pages of research, color coding it. So if you're looking for cancer, you look for a particular color, or the nervous system, another color. Okay? So the research is there. And the Bioinitiative working group is comprised of these people, and they found all these studies showed all this evidence. of
For
harm.
different diseases.
Yeah, damage to sperm and reproduction, children more vulnerable, fetal and neonatal effects, autism,
Yeah.
electrical hypersensitivity, cell tower, blood-brain barrier, brain tumors, toxicity of the genes and nervous system, leukemia, childhood and adult cancers, Alzheimer's.
But Americans do know about the link between like brain tumors and cell phones. Most Americans
Well,
know about that.
lay people do. You won't see that talked about in,
But cell phone companies.
the cell phone companies will not admit to it. No, they know about it, but it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
I text. You know, it's an efficient way.
Texting rather than calling.
Both. I use both. Whatever clients do. I mean, the majority of my clients text or use their cell phone, even if they're
Yeah.
electrically sensitive. I don't understand it, but they do. So that's
Well,
how
because there's not a lot of alternatives besides the landline.
well, that's right. So that's how I communicate with them.
But I like the iChat because I use it from my computer and I have my Ethernet plugged in.
Okay.
So people can text me when they can't reach me when my phone is off. They can
Oh.
still text me through iChat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, on your computer, you said.
Yeah, you know about, because it's a Mac and I have an iPhone.
Yes.
Do you know about that?
Well, actually, I do, and I recommend it to my clients.
Oh, okay.
So you're talking about the hardwired workaround?
What, hardwired workaround?
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And like, I usually keep my phone on airplane mode,
Good.
and then I just turn it on if I know I need to check something, but I try not to do it a lot.
Well, now, okay, see, what we
So-
normally recommend is we recommend that people get a corded telephone. They keep their landline, and they don't use cordless, they use corded telephones.
Oh, yeah. My mom
Okay.
has cordless,
Well,
so it's not good.
that's not good. And then we recommend an Ethernet cable for their internet, and then disable the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Now, do you have an Ethernet cable over to your,
Yeah.
oh, you do?
Right now, my computer isn't even plugged into it. Because I have two laptops, and for some reason it only works on one of my laptops.
Oh,
The other one doesn't recognize the Ethernet, but I
oh,
have the same input. I use a Ethernet to Thunderbolt adapter.
oh, good, okay. By the way, did you get the email from me? Are you on my email list?
Yeah, I got the,
About July?
yeah,
About the building biology study group? Good, okay.
yeah.
Do you have a conflict on, because that's what the email was asking.
Not right now. No, I said both days were good.
Oh, you already responded, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I've got a whole list of people, so
But
I apologize for not remembering
no problem.
that you replied. Good, all right, good.
Well.
So you'll meet the other people and,
Yeah.
you know, and... Okay, so I'm setting up the body voltage meter.
What does that mean, body voltage?
It means using, so this is an antenna,
Yeah.
and we run it through a voltmeter, set on a multimeter, set on volts AC. And then this will go into a grounded outlet.
Yeah.
Or we could go put a stake into the earth, either way. And then that makes this an antenna. When I hold it, then I'm the antenna. My whole body is the antenna.
Yeah.
So that's the body voltage. And then we measure the voltage in the room.
Oh.
Okay? So,
So it's not measuring your body's voltage.
no. It's measuring we're using your body as the antenna to measure the voltage in the room from the wires in the walls. And then, that's when we get this number. All right, so let's go around and see. So I like to do the assessment one EMF at a time. So let's turn this on and put it on, whoops, the LF30, and right now it's measuring 0.2 to 0.3 volts per meter, milligauss, sorry. So, and this one is showing the same, if not a little lower, 0.1. So this is the magnetic field. So I'm going to write down magnetic B fields, magnetic fields. We have 0.1 in the eating area, dining room.
Yeah. Now in the kitchen.
Well, in the kitchen, it's 0.3. Actually, it's going up. Why is it going up?
Is that from the fridge?
No, it's over here. Wow, there's 4 milligauss here. Why is that?
Don't ask me.
Okay,
Is
there's
there something plugged in? There's no outlet over there. Or maybe it's a dishwasher.
well, maybe, but I don't think so actually. Huh? Well, this is where people stand, and where people stand, it's 0.5 here,
Mhm.
and 0.8 here. So in the kitchen, at the sink, it's 0.5 to 0.8. When I see an elevated number like that, I want to know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just put that on a piece of paper and hand it to you.
Yeah.
You have to know what to do with it. So, because if we can get rid of it, we will try. That's where the buzz stick comes in.
Buzz stick.
Yeah, no, I have to drill the holes in the back of the holder for the, actually for this, and put this on a stick that I have, and then I wave it around. So,
Oh.
but in the meantime, I can do this. Now, this makes a buzzing when it gets near a magnetic field. There's something on the other side of this wall.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay. So, go ahead and put that towel down and put your meter up against here.
Okay.
And you're measuring 1.2. Now put it sort of,
Like, should I take a picture? Hold it? Or no? Because you can't really see it if I'm under there.
well, you can hold it like this.
Oh.
Now this one is not,
Not registering.
well, this is the way that gives you the highest number, but it's not that high. Well, actually, it's 5, yeah, it's 5 milligauss.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's measuring. 0.5 microtesla is 5 milligauss.
So that's pretty high.
Yes.
I think that's about how much it is when I'm driving on the tire.
Say it again.
Because I measured it while I was driving. I think it was about that much.
That's a whole nother story. Yeah. But the good news is out here it's 0.8. That's pretty much what I got. 0.5 to 0.8.
Yeah.
That's what it's measuring out here. So, oh, you know what? That just popped up to 2 to 3. There's something in this wall.
So that means that it's not wired properly?
I don't know. There's nothing above us, right? We're on the top floor.
Yeah, there's no top. There's no higher floor.
There's no higher floor. But maybe the wires. I don't know. There's something in this wall.
Yeah.
So just be aware that, unfortunately, like you might want to stand here, not here.
Okay.
And this is where you guys seem to do your dishes on this
Yeah.
side. That's all. That's what that means.
I use the dishwasher more than the.
Oh, okay. Let me look out the window if I can.
Oh yeah. You're gonna open the window?
I'm just looking. Okay, I don't see any power lines like coming into the building on this side, so, so there's something in that wall. But fortunately, nobody sleeps over there or sits over there, it drops off by the time you get to the sink. So we have 5 milligauss at the wall there. 3 to 5, yeah. Okay, so it's 5 milligauss behind the dishwasher. Okay. Now in the rest of the apartment, we're just looking to see what the levels are. In fact, what we can do is turn this on. Because it's 0.2 in the rest of the, like at the chair there, seat there is 0.2. I've already recorded that fact. And we just like to check where people sit. 0.2, 0.2. 2.3. So far it's relatively low over here. That's just an isolated spot, a hot spot near that wall.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going, you hear the buzzing is getting louder and the numbers going up.
Is that because of that lamp?
It's probably because of well, anytime you have a fluorescent light, there will be a transformer in there somewhere.
Oh. Ooh.
It's right here. So the electricity comes in at 120 volts.
Yeah.
This is a fluorescent tube which runs at 150 volts, I believe. So that transformer steps it to another voltage.
Should I test it when I turn it off?
Well, the point is, the magnetic field is right here, and it's 13 milligauss. But this is a point source.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't keep that on when I go to sleep.
Well, but see, it drops to 1 right there. I mean, it literally, the 13 goes to 1 6 inches away.
Oh.
You don't have to worry about it.
Is it bad for the plants if I'm trying to grow plants?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
That would be more the heat that comes off of this, or the
Yeah.
static electricity. But it's really the wavelength of the light that you're giving it.
Yeah.
So you want to be concerned about or be aware of the wavelength of the light from your. They have grow lights and stuff, so they figured all this out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep checking.
Okay. My bedroom.
Okay, now before I stopped because I heard it. See, there's a field under this floor. It's 1.2 milligauss. What's important is what is the number where you sleep.
Right here.
Okay.
There's like no room here.
Well, now, fortunately for you, the magnetic field level is relatively low where you sleep. 0.2, 0.3.
Yeah, and I put my head on that side.
Okay, now, I do see, however, abundant sources of electric fields. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pointing at the like that. See?
Oh, yeah. But I usually turn that off when I sleep.
Well, when you say turn it off, you mean down there?
Yeah.
So, really? So this goes dead? I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So first of all, I'm going to turn this to, now it's going to register electric fields. So that's 49 volts per meter. You want to be below 1.
Oh.
And we say 10 or higher is an extreme. And that's coming from the electric fields, from this.
Yeah, from the
Okay.
wire.
So, now, so if you didn't shut that off, it's even higher. It's 94 volts per meter here. All right, so in the bedroom, we have 0.2 milligauss. The electric field is 94 volts per meter, and it should be 1.